Hi, very good morning to one and all, and a warm welcome to the next session on Python. The previous class, we had studied about the for loop and the range function in for loop, and along with that, we had seen why do while is not included in Python. So till now, in the flow control, we have completed these control statements and we have completed these iterative statements. Now, in today's session, we are going to look at these transfer statements. So in Python, the transfer statements are of three types: break, continue, and pass. So what is the reason and why we are calling these statements as transfer statements? So what these statements will do is they will transfer the control. So for example, in a program, there are 10 lines of code. Let us assume these are the 10 lines of a code in a program. And normally, first line will get executed. After the completion of first line, second line will get executed. After the completion, third line will get executed, and then fourth line will get executed. So this is the way the program will get executed. So for example, in the middle, for example, here at line number 3, if we have used a break statement or a continue statement or a pass statement, right, or a pass statement, now the program control way of execution will change. If we use break statement, the fourth statement will not get executed. We just come out of the loop. If we use continue statement, only the current iteration will be skipped. So this is way how these statements will behave in the program. So when we use the break or continue or pass statements inside the program, so the flow of control may get transferred or the flow of control may get jumped. So we call these statements as transfer statements, or at the same time we call these statements as jump statements. So among all these jump statements, let us look at the first statement, that is break. So this is the flowchart of break statement. I think you all are familiar with this break statement in C programming language also. Okay. So for example, I have a loop test expression. So let us assume that loop test expression will be from for I equal to 0, right? I less than 10, and then I plus plus. So this is my expression. So my I value will be changing from 0 to 10, and each and every time it is going to be incremented by 1. Okay. So here in this loop, if I write something called as if, okay, if I equal to 5, if I write I equal to 5, and if I write break, so normally, and after this, if I print the value of I, so for example, print of I, so if we execute this code, the initial I value is 0, 0 is less than 10, so 0 will be printed, and then 0 will become 1, 1 will be printed, 1 will become 2, 2 will be printed, 3 will be printed, 4 will be printed. Whenever the 4 is incremented by 1, it will become 5. And when we check the condition 5 less than 10, again the condition is true. We enter into the loop, and inside the loop we had taken one more condition. If I equal to 5, if the value of I is 5, then we said that break. So whenever the break was executed, the control will just transfer out of this loop. So for this program, we are going to get the output as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Even though we write the loop up to 0 to 10, but we had included the break statement for if I equal to 5. So this loop will be breaked whenever the I value reaches to 5. So by using break statement, we just come out of the loop. Okay. So if the given break statement, right, if the given break statement, for example, if the loop test expression is false, for example, if this condition fails, we never enter into the loop, we just exit the loop. If the condition is true, right, if the condition is true, then we enter into the loop. Inside the loop, we are checking this if condition. So if condition is false, if condition is false, we execute the remaining body. So initial I value is 0. So 0 not equal to 5. So this break will not get executed and it will execute the remaining body. If the remaining body is executed, 0 will be printed on the output screen. And then 1 will be printed, and then and so on, 4 will be printed. After printing 4, the value of I will become 5. Whenever the value of I is 5, here the break condition is true. I equal to 5 will become true. If it is true, we just exit out of the loop. So what break generally do is, it will terminate the loop. It will terminate the loop. So whenever the break statement was executed by the Python compiler, not only Python, it may be any compiler, it will just terminate the loop. Okay, so let us take two compilers. The first one is online C compiler and online Python compiler. And let us see how this break statement will behave in C programming language or in Python programming language. Remember, break and continue. So the behavior of break and continue will be same in all the 3 or 4 languages, that is C, C++, Java, and Python. Okay, so when the break statement was executed by the compiler, it just brings the control out of the loop. For example, let us see here. Here, I have a variable of int I. I have a variable of int I, and inside the for loop, I had started the value of I with 1, and I am going to iterate the value up to 10, and each and every time I want to increment the value of I by 1. So inside the for loop, what I want to do is, I want to print the value of I. I want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. Right? I want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. So for that, I am printing the value of I, because I is having the value of 1, and it will be going to be changed to 2, 3, 4, and so on 10. So if I do so, if I run the code, it will print the numbers from 1 to 10. Now let us assume I have a break statement here. If I have a break statement, as we discussed earlier, whenever the break was encountered by the compiler, it may be a C or it may be a Python compiler. Whenever the break statement was encountered by the compiler, it is going to terminate this loop. So we already entered into the loop. Loop means these pair of braces. We already entered into the loop. So whenever the break statement was executed, it just bring control out of the loop. So see here, initially, when the first line inside the main was executed, it will create a 2 bytes of space or 4 bytes of space, depending upon the version of the compiler, and nothing will be kept inside this space, because there is nothing here in the first line. So whenever the second line was executed, I value will be 1, because we have given I equal to 1, and we check the condition, 1 less than or equal to 10. So the condition is true. Because the condition is true, we enter into the loop, and inside the loop we had printed the value of I. So 1 will be printed on the output screen. After printing 1, the remaining body has the break statement. Whenever the break statement was run by the compiler, it just brings out of the loop. So when we execute this program, we will get 1 as an output. You can see here, you run the code, we got only 1 as an output. Even though we write the iteration from 1 to 10, because the break statement was executed, we only got 1 as an output. So let us see what will happen if we have the break statement before the print statement. So let us assume what will happen if we have the break statement here. See here, the initial value of I is 1, and 1 is less than or equal to 10. The condition is true. We enter into the loop. Whenever we enter into the loop, the first statement inside the loop was break. So whenever the break was seen by the compiler, it just brings the control out of the loop. So nothing will be printed with this program. Okay, so what this break is doing, the break is breaking the loop or the break is terminating the loop. So for example, for the same break statement, if we have taken an if condition, if, right, if I equal to 5. So what this break statement will do now? So this break statement will get executed whenever the value of I is 5. Other than that, it will not get executed. So if the if condition is true only, then the break statement will get executed. When will the if condition will be true? When the I value will become 5, then the if condition will become true. So now for this program, initial I value is 1, 1 less than or equal to 10, and 1 not equal to 5. So it will print 1, and then it will print 2, 3, 4. Whenever the I value became 5, we check the condition 5 less than or equal to 10, condition is true. We enter into the body of the loop and we check the condition if 5 equal to 5. Here the condition is true. Because the condition is true, it is going to execute the break statement. When the break statement was executed, we just come out of the loop without printing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the output of this code is 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. So the break statement is going to break the iteration, or it is going to terminate the iteration. So the similar thing will be done in case of Python also. So let us assume here in Python, let us take the for loop. For example, there is a variable A. Variable A contains the text called as CSE, AIML, and DS. So now A is of string type. Now I am going to use a for loop for I in A. So for I in A, I am going to print I. So what will be printed? As we discussed in the last previous two classes, when we write like this, the I value will start at 0 and it will end at n minus 1. So when it starts at 0, it is going to print A of 0. A of 0 means C will be printed on the output screen. And then see here, when we declare like this, A equal to CSE AML DS, a space will be reserved similar to this one, and the space will have multiple number of divisions, right? Multiple number of divisions, and the name of the space is A, and the index value will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And so on, depending upon the length of the string. In the first space, C will be stored, in the second space, S, and in the third space, E, and then A, I, M, and L, and remaining things are D, and so on, S. So this is how the things will be stored. So when we say for I, the initial I value will be 0. And when we say I in A in the sense 0 in A. So A of 0 represents C will be printed here, followed by, then I value will be incremented by 1. And then when we say A of 1, S will be printed, and then A of 2, E will be printed, and then A of 3, A of 4, I, A of 5, M, and similarly, it will print L, D, S. Now, let us look at the output of this code, and then we can implement the break statement inside this for loop. So when you do so, see here, it has printed CSE, AIML, and DS, right? The individual characters of the string has been printed in the new line. Now, inside this one, I am going to write a if condition if I equal to A. So if I equal to A, then what I want to do is I want to break. See here. So initially we got the output CSE, AIML, and DS. Now what I am doing is I had just an if condition inside the for loop, where the condition if is that if the I value is A. So if we run the code, you can see here it has printed only CSE on the output screen. How it is possible? Right? Initially, see here, the value of this is how the given string will be stored in the memory. We had started the for loop with I equal to 0. So it will verify whether A of 0 is having A or not. So A of 0 is having C, so it is not equivalent to A, so C will be printed on the output screen. And then the value of I will be incremented by 1, so it will print A of 1. So A of 1 is S, it is not A, so S will be printed. A of 2, E will be printed, so CSE will be printed on the output screen. And then when the I value will become 3, we are going to check A of 3. So A of 3 is having A, which is equal to the given condition. So I equal to A. So here it will execute this break statement. So whenever the break statement is executed, this print statement will not get executed, and we just come out of the loop without iterating for I equal to 5, I equal to 6, etc. Okay. So let us check this one. When I equal to A, or when we say when I equal to D, so what will be the expected output? Unless and until D was found in the given string, every character will be printed in the new line. So here CSC will be printed, AIML will be printed, and then we found D as a last but one character in the given string. So up to AIML will be printed. So CSC, AIML. So this is the behavior of the break statement. It will just terminate the loop. Okay, it will just terminate the loop. Let us see what will happen if we don't use, right? What will happen if we don't use that if condition inside the for loop? Now, if you run the code, you don't get any output. See here, we don't get any output because immediately when we enter into the for loop, we execute the break statement. If you write the break statement here, only C will be printed on the output screen. Okay, so depending upon our need, we can use this break statement anywhere in the program. Okay, I think everyone understood the use of break statement. Now let us look at the continue statement. See here. So this is the flowchart of the continue statement. See, we just write one loop here. For example, for I equal to 0, right? I less than 10, and then I plus plus. So we had started the value of I with 0, and we increment the value of I by 1 till we reach 9, because we had taken less than 10. So in this loop, if I write something called as continue here, if I write something called as continue, and after writing continue, if I print the value of I, nothing will be printed on the output screen. When we use continue inside the loop, right? When we use continue inside the loop, what will happen is the compiler is going to skip the remaining lines in the current iteration. The compiler is going to skip the remaining lines in the current iteration. So here, let us see, we don't have a continue statement here. So if we do so for I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, it will print the numbers from 0 to 9 over the output screen. But for example, if I have taken if I equal to 3 continue, if I have taken I equal to 3 continue, now what will happen is 0 will be printed, 1 will be printed, 2 will be printed on the output screen. Whenever the I value became 3, we set that continue. What the break statement done? Break statement had done, it just brought the control out of the loop. But the continue, what the continue statement will do is, it will not execute these remaining lines, but it will continue to the next iteration. Okay, so 3 will not be printed on the output screen, but I value will become 4, right? I value will become 4, and 4 will be printed, 5 will be printed, and so on. 9 will be printed on the output screen. So what does the continue do here? The continue just skip the current iteration. it does not bring the control out of the block. It just skip the current iteration. So it will be, you will understand betterly with the use of example. So let us complete this flowchart first. There will be a condition. If the condition is true, we enter into the body. So let us assume this is the body of the while loop or body of the for loop. So inside the body, if we have a continuous statement, so inside the body, if we have a continuous statement, what we will do, we will again, right? We will again go for the test condition or go for the next iteration. If there is no continue, right? If there is no continue, remaining code inside the body will get executed. Okay, remaining code. So see here. So this is the entire body. So this is the entire body. Okay, if there is continue, this part will not get executed. Okay, if there is continue, the remaining part will not get executed. So if there is no continue, the remaining part will get executed. So I will show it by using an example. So let us start with the C program. Let us start the things with the C program. Here, see, instead of break, let us take continue here. Let us take continue and see what will happen in the program. When we use break, we had observed that whenever the I value became 5, it is not printed on the output screen. So up to 124 is printed on the output screen. But in place of break, if we use continue, let us see what will happen. It has printed the numbers from 1 to 10 by skipping the number 5. You can see here the numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is not present in the output, but 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are present. What the continue is done? So continue, whenever the continue is executed, the remaining lines in the block are not executed, but it is executing the next iteration. Whenever the I value is 5, the remaining body is not executed, but the I value has been incremented to 6 and remaining body is executed. Okay, so whenever you use the continue, that particular current iteration will be skipped. What happens if we don't use this condition here? You run the code, you are not going to get any output, because whenever the I is 1 is less than 10, we enter into the loop. Immediately when we enter into the loop, we had encountered the continue. When the continue was executed by the compiler, it is not going to execute the remaining body. So when the remaining body is not executed, but the I value will become 1, and then 1 will be printed, and then 2 will be printed, and then 3 will be printed. For example, if you print the value of I here, for example, printf percentage %d, printf percentage %d, comma I. So if you print the value of I, just a second, we had missed the semicolon. Okay, if you print the value of I, you can see here the value of I has become 11. But if you use the break statement here, the value will be only 1. So meaning of the difference between the break and continue is that when the I value is 1, we enter into the loop. Immediately the break was encountered. We just come out of the loop. But in place, if we have a continue here, what will be done? I value is 1. We enter into the loop. Because the continue was executed, we don't execute, this printf statement will not get executed, but the I value will become 1, and inside the block there exists continue, and because of the continue, the remaining part will not get executed. I value will become 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and even the 10 also we enter into the loop. Because of continue, 10 is not printed on the output screen. Again, the I value will become 11. And when we check the condition 11 less than or equal to 10, the condition fails and we just come out of the loop. And after coming out of the loop, if we run the code, it will print 11 on the output screen. Okay, so what the continue is doing is that it is going to skip the current iteration. And similarly, here, if I equal to something called as m, if I equal to m, I want to break. So if I found M in the given string, it is going to break. CSC AI, and I found M here. So the output will be CSC AI. M will not be printed, but because on M we had called break. So instead of break, what will happen if we use continue? So if we use continue, when the string finds M will not be printed, and the remaining part of the string will be printed. You can see here CSC AI L DS. M is not printed on the output string. So continue, what continue is doing, it is going to skip the current iteration. It is not going to terminate, it is going to skip. So here the continue is executed. Because here the continue is executed, the remaining line is not going to be executed, but it is going to execute the next iteration. So let us see what will happen instead of M, what will happen if I have take S. So S was found in couple of times. In CSC we have S, and in DS we have S, right? If you run the code, see here, C will be printed, S will not be printed because on S we had called continue, and then E will be printed, AI, ML will be printed, D will be printed, and S will not be printed because on S we had called the continue. Okay, so this is how the continue statement will behave inside the code. Okay, so apart from these two, now I think everyone had some clarity regarding this break and continue statement, right? So apart from these two, so what the break statement done? Break statement has terminated the loop. Continue statement has just terminate the current iteration. Okay, break statement terminates the entire loop, but the continue statement skips the current iteration. Okay, and there is one more statement called as pass statement, right? We already seen about the pass statement here. There is one more statement called as pass statement. What this pass statement will do, right? What this pass statement will do in Python. See here. Let us see the difference between pass and continue. What the continue? If there is continue, we don't execute the remaining body, but we go for the next iteration, right? But when we have pass, when we have pass, or when we don't have pass statement, we just execute the remaining part of the body. Then one can ask that what is the use of this pass statement? Why we are using this pass statement? If it is true or false, if we execute the remaining body, then what is the use of pass statement? So for example, if we have break, it will terminate the loop. If we have continue, it will skip the iteration. But when we have pass, or when we don't have pass, it is going to execute the remaining body. Then what is the use of this pass statement? So the pass statement is used as a placeholder for future use. What do you mean by placeholder in future use? When the pass statement is executed, nothing will happen, but you avoid getting an error when empty code is not allowed. See here, in this program, C program does not support the pass statement. In C program, we have only break and continue, but in Python, it supports pass statement. For example, inside this loop, I don't want any body. I want to just leave it as empty. If I run the code, you can see here, I am getting an error. See here, if I run the code, I am getting an error at line number 2, syntax error, unexpected end of file while parsing. So in Python, you are not allowed to supply an empty body for a for loop or for a while loop. Okay, in Python, you are not allowed to supply an empty body. If you want to supply an empty body, just use the transfer statement pass. So if you use pass statement, no error has been done. So what this pass statement? It is used as a placeholder for future use. So now I had written a Python program. I don't want to write anything in this for loop, but in future, I want to write something. So I want to reserve this space. So for reserving this space, I had written this pass statement. In future, if I want to write something, I can just remove this pass statement. I can write whatever I want. So this pass statement is just used as a placeholder. When the pass statement is executed, nothing will happen. But you avoid getting an error when empty code is not allowed. So here inside the for loop or inside the if condition or inside the while loop, we are not allowed to have an empty code. You are not allowed to have an empty code. But instead of empty code, we can have this pass statement. So empty code is not allowed in loops, function definitions, or class definitions, or in if statements. So we cannot have empty codes. Instead of empty codes, we can have this pass statement. Okay, right? I think you all understood why this pass is used. So if we want to implement in future, we can go for pass. Or if we cannot left anything as empty. If you want to left anything as empty, instead of leaving it as empty, you can use pass statement. So by using pass statements, we don't get any errors. Okay, for example, if I have taken an if condition, if I a equal to 10, if a equal to 10, I taken pass. So nothing will be done. So if I don't use pass, if I left it as empty, if I run the code, I am going to get an error. Okay, I'm going to get an error. So to avoid errors for an empty body, we are going to use pass. So pass can be used inside the classes, inside the methods, inside the conditional statements, that is if else, and nested if else ladder, or it can be used in the iterational statements such as while and do while. Okay, so this is the use of pass statement, right? So with this, I am going to close today's session. And in today's session, we had discussed about break, continue, and pass statements. So break is going to terminate the entire loop. Continue is going to skip the current iteration, whereas pass statement is used as a placeholder. So whenever you want to mention an empty condition statements or an empty iterational statements, to avoid getting an error, we go for the pass statement, right? So with this, we had completed the flow control. So from the last 3 or 4 classes, we are discussing about flow control. So we had completed if else ladder, nested if, while, for, and unfortunately Python is not having do while, because do while is a pre-test condition, post-test conditional loop. So because of post-test, the loop was executed at least once independent of the condition. And then under the transfer statements, we had discussed about break, continue, and pass, right? So if anybody is having the doubts in today's session or any doubts in the unit number 2, that is the flow control, you can raise your hands. We can clear the doubts. So if anybody is having the doubts in today's session or any doubts in the flow control, you can raise your hands. Okay. Okay, then with this, we are going to close today's session. And in tomorrow's session, we are going to look at about strings in Python, right? Strings in Python. And then if there is still time, we can go for the text files in Python, how to create a file, how to read a content from the file, and how to write the content into the file. I think you have already studied in C programming language regarding files. So in files, we had opened the file and we had read the content of the file. We know that the read mode, write mode, executed mode in C programming language. Similar to that, in Python, we are going to work on files. So before working on files, we are going to have a look at on strings. In C programming language, we had seen that we can create strings by using character array, right? We can create strings by using character array. So in Python also, we can create the strings in Python, we can directly create the strings. We all know that we can have strings by using a single quotes, double quotes, or triple quotes, right? So we are going to work on strings in the next class. After strings, we can go for the files. So here 4236.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Sir, అదే ఐఎన్ ఎస్ అని కట్టి కంటిన్యూ వేసినప్పుడు ఎస్కేప్ చేసి అన్ని ప్రింట్ అయినాయి కదా.
అవునవును.
మరి అదే ఇప్పుడు బ్రేక్ కొట్టి ఎస్ కొడితే అప్పుడు సి ప్రింట్ అయిద్దా లేకపోతే
ఓన్లీ సి వరకే ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది.
అవును, అక్కడ 2 ఎస్లు ఉన్నాయి కదా.
2 ఎస్లు ఉన్నా సరే ఫస్ట్ ఎస్ ఎక్కడైతే ఐడెంటిఫై అయిందో అక్కడతో ఆగిపోతుంది. సో ఇక్కడ తీసుకుందాం. ఫర్ ఐ ఇన్ ఎస్, ఫర్ ఐ ఇన్ ఏ, for I in A, okay, if I equal to something called as S, okay, for I equal to S, if we take break, if we take break, so ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుందో చూద్దాం. సో ఇనీషియల్ గా A of 0 లో C ఉంటుంది, ఓకేనా, A of 0 లో C ఉంటుంది. దీని తర్వాత మనం ప్రింట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ తీసుకుంటే ప్రింట్ I, సో ఇక్కడ చూడండి ఫస్ట్ C ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది. దాని తర్వాత ఎప్పుడైతే I వాల్యూ 1 అయిందో A ఆఫ్ 1 లో ఏముంది, S ఉంది. S దగ్గర కండిషన్ చెక్ చేస్తున్నాం. ఇఫ్ S ఈక్వల్ టు S, అప్పుడు ఏమన్నాం మనం, బ్రేక్ అన్నాం. సో ఎప్పుడైతే బ్రేక్ అన్నామో మనకు అసలు ఈ లూప్ తో ఇంకా సంబంధం ఉండదు, మనం జస్ట్ అసలు బయటకు వచ్చేస్తాం ప్రోగ్రామ్ లో, ఆ లూప్ లో నుంచి బయటకు వచ్చేస్తాం. సో కాబట్టి ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్ కనుక మనం రన్ చేస్తే మనకి C వరకే ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది. అదే ఇదే ప్లేస్ లో మనం కంటిన్యూ తీసుకున్నాం అనుకో, సో కంటిన్యూ తీసుకుంటే ఏమవుతుందంటే ఫస్ట్ C ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది, తర్వాత S కాబట్టి S దగ్గర ఏం చెప్పాం, కంటిన్యూ అని చెప్పాం. కంటిన్యూ అని చెప్పినప్పుడు మనకి ఇలాగా లూప్ బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోదు. లూప్ బయటికి వెళ్ళకుండా, ఓకేనా, లూప్ బయటికి వెళ్ళకుండా ఈ లైన్ ఏదైతే ఉందో, నెక్స్ట్ లైన్స్ ఏదైతే ఉందో వాటిని ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేయకుండా నెక్స్ట్ క్యారెక్టర్ కి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. నెక్స్ట్ క్యారెక్టర్ ఏంటి, ఈ. సో ఈ ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది, మళ్ళా AIML వరకు ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది, తర్వాత D కూడా ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది. తర్వాత మళ్ళా S వచ్చింది కదా, మళ్ళా S మీద ఏమని చెప్పాం, కంటిన్యూ. మళ్ళా కంటిన్యూ ప్రింట్ అవ్వకుండా నెక్స్ట్ ఇటరేషన్ కి వెళ్తుంది. నెక్స్ట్ ఇటరేషన్ కి వెళ్తే అది ఎండ్ ఆఫ్ ద స్ట్రింగ్ కాబట్టి మనకి ఆ సెకండ్ S లాస్ట్ S తప్ప రిమైనింగ్ అన్ని కూడా ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది. ఓకేనా, కంటిన్యూ అంటేనేమో ఆ నెక్స్ట్ ఇటరేషన్ కి వెళ్తుంది అంతే, రిమైనింగ్ లైన్స్ ని ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేయకుండా నెక్స్ట్ ఇటరేషన్ కి వెళ్తుంది. బ్రేక్ అంటేనేమో అసలు ఆ లూప్ లో నుంచి బయటకు వచ్చేస్తాం.
ఓకే సార్,
రైట్. ఇంకెవరికైనా డౌట్స్? Okay, then with this I am going to close today's session, and thank you everyone for being here.